Hey everybody, it's my pleasure as Northern Lion here to be bringing you a Let's Look At of Worms Revolution. So this game is currently in closed beta, but for anybody who is familiar with the Worms franchise, this is going to be immediately familiar to you. This is the new game, you know, turn-based strategy, squad-based strategy, I guess, from Team 17. So the same guys who did, basically the entire franchise so far. At least did Worms Armageddon, which is the one that I'm most familiar with. But in any case, we are going to get started here. And as I mentioned, this game is in beta right now. It's still completely unfinished. As you can see, we still have this version number up here at the very top. So anything that you see here is subject to change. But so far, I've sunk maybe 3-4 hours into Worms Revolution so much. Each game takes like, 15 to 20 minutes most of the time. So the time flies by. And I've got very positive impressions of this game so far. But without further ado, let us get started here. I've only played single player, which again is potentially a little bit... I don't know what way to phrase it, a little bit misrepresentative, because most of the fun, at least for me, in Worms, was playing against guys like, J. Smith OTI, Michael A.L. Fox, Worms Armageddon on the Xbox Live Arcade back when that came out, like 3 or 4 years ago by now. But I'm having a good enough time on the single player of my own to recommend that this is a positive experience so far. So there is a campaign mode that you can see here. Each one of these, the rat one is basically like the sewers, which is our tutorial level, and there's like 8 tutorial levels. And I am on the beach, which is our first set of like real levels. And I'm actually on the boss, but we're not going to fight the boss right away. Instead, we were just going to do maybe like Pain Ahoy. It doesn't really matter. Like the scenarios basically change a little bit. Maybe you have like more enemies. Maybe the enemies have a little bit more health. But mostly they're pretty much like, you can rearrange them as you see fit.
Looms randomly above the sea. I don't want to put a daunting picture in your brain, so think about something nice, like a piping hot pie with a nice little bunny on it.
Now, if I heard correctly, I'm stepping on some toes here.
Skin and tie belt. I'll take them both. Shop keep. These are our target, boys. Memorize them, then vaporize them. Perhaps if we weren't at war, we could be friends. Get stuffed.
So if I heard correctly, or I read the press release correctly, let's just pause our game briefly because there is a turn timer. All that vocal work there is done by Matt Berry, who you might remember from The Mighty Bush, like all sorts of stuff from like Channel 4 and BBC. He's also on Garth Marenghi's Dark Place and stuff like that. So what happened between you and that Renwick customer? Anyway. He was also on the It Crowd, I guess, which is probably where most people will know him. So Worms! Basically, we have the squad of Worms that you can see around here. We have 4 of them, Nikki, Marmalade, Gordon, and Noah, and our job is to use a variety of weapons to kill the worms that we have up here. And our weapons, you can see when we bring up our menu here. So we got tons of stuff. I'm not going to be able to go over probably a vast majority of these, but what I will go over is some of the stuff that I use to accomplish our objectives here. So we are using just a jetpack right now. It's running out of fuel, as you can see, but that'll get us up here to Sunburn, and then going up to Sunburn. We still have 25 seconds or so left in this turn. I'm going to get something that I think is going to fling him off the edge. Our objective is to actually kill all of the enemy worms, and we can kill them by either taking their health all the way down or by pushing them into the water. So I'm hoping that this will push him maybe into the mine below us, which will then push him into the water. Let's see. Well, so far so good. Right into the mine, and then the mine is it's gotta very nearly have killed him. Oh, it did 100 damage, perfect. So that was a pretty solid turn for us. So this is the way that the game basically is set up. We start out, we take a turn, computer takes a turn. We take a turn, computer takes a turn. Now one thing I am kind of frustrated with is that there is like a very, very long turn timer, and oftentimes the AI uses a lot of it. For some reason the AI also skips a lot of turns, which I find a little unusual. Maybe it's because we're still fairly early on in the campaign here, so it's trying to take it a little bit easy on you, but I'm like, fuck that. I put in my time in Worms Armageddon. I want the computer to come out of nowhere and just absolutely destroy me, but you'll probably see some of that. So we're gonna take out our bazooka and hopefully knock Krabby into the water here. That was a pretty solid hit. Then we're just gonna get ourselves back into our pit over here so that we'll be safe. But yeah, this is the essence of the Worms franchises. It's basically a strategy game, and primarily multiplayer-based strategy. I mean, this is a franchise that most people are familiar with that was probably popular early in the 2000s, I would say. At least that's when I started hearing about things for the first time. I have no idea, or hearing about the franchise for the first time. I have no idea why the AI continues to skip their turns. But anyway, let's try something a little bit different here. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to close the menu. But yeah, my initial impressions of this game after a few hours, we have to watch out for this mine, which might actually trigger. Yep, and hurt us. That was bad. So there are hazards that we have to watch out for as well, as you can probably imagine, like those mines, and there's like explosive barrels up here, and actually these environmental objects, like this water bottle, can be affected. Is there anything else like that? Yeah, the lighters and seashells can be like blown open to do damage or to push people around. But largely my impressions of this game has been, oh, this is like just a graphical update and a little bit of a gameplay update to the Worms franchise. And I'm not sure how people are going to feel about that. For me, as someone who hasn't played the franchise in a few years now, it works totally fine. Let's take our shotgun here. Maybe I can get them to fall off the edge just by shooting them. Yeah, that should do it. We can fire our shotgun twice, but I guess there is no need. We might as well maybe try to weaken the ledge above this guy. And maybe he'll fall in a little bit later. But yeah, like as someone who hasn't played the franchise in a few years, I was able to get into this, like if we're saying framing things the positive way, I was able to get into this right away. Like after a brief kind of exercise on the controls and like refamiliarizing myself with movement and stuff like that, I was able to basically just hop into a game right away, which is awesome. The downside is that I don't know if this is enough of an update for people who are still playing existing Worms games to possibly consider. Because, I mean, graphically it does look better, but does it look a substantial amount better? Well, not yet anyway. Like I said, it's still a work in progress, and I should probably reiterate, as I say, more positive and potentially negative things. That this is definitely a work in progress. Like, this game still has some time to go. I believe it's penned for an October release date, which would be awesome. But I think it's either mid-October or late October, so it's got some time left to go. A little bit of time left to go anyway, but I feel like I'm playing largely with a finished product here. But, you know, even as much as this is just kind of like a variation on the Worms theme, I'm finding myself enjoying it, and I'm actually looking forward to when the game actually comes out and being able to play the multiplayer. Because the campaign, you know, that's never been the strength of my time with the Worms franchise. It's always been about competing against enemies who actually, you know, have the power to think for themselves. So let's take an airstrike here. So not every weapon... By the way, I'm using my keyboard for all of this navigation right here. You don't have to use your mouse, but you can. There are weapons that you can simply like send from the sky, but usually those are highly limited. So we'll drop an airstrike like right here. It's enough to do a lot of damage to Parasol, enough to actually throw Parasol off the edge there. Excellent. And Sandy is going to be here. I'm not sure how much of a factor water has played in previous Worms games, because in Worms Armageddon it didn't really play that much, but in this game, water actually does play a pretty substantial factor. There's a lot of watery weapons, so there's like water balloons you can throw, there's a water pistol, and basically you can either drown enemies, because they take like 5 damage per turn when they're underwater, or you can use water to kind of like create a current and push them somewhere where maybe they don't want to go. Like for example, if I was right behind this guy, I could potentially use my water pistol and push him into this water. He'll hit the mine and explode and then possibly drown soon after that. But right now, he's taking forever. And again, I'm not sure if I actually articulated this all the way, but one of my frustrations with the game is that the AI takes forever on the turn timer sometimes. And when it's... Also, they have amazing shots with the grenades every single time. Yes, like, sometimes they take forever on the turn timer. And that's okay when you're playing against friends, because, you know, people need some time to think. But against the AI, I understand that they need time to actually execute their actions. But the amount of time they spend thinking is substantial. So we are definitely not going to be able to jetpack all the way up here. So let's turn that off. And we'll go with our ninja rope here, which is a kind of a Worms staple, I would say. We're going to try to use this to swing. Oh, didn't work. We're still alive here. We're going to try to use this to swing up so we can attack Sandy. But it might not be possible. Yeah, we just took some damage there. That was a poor turn on our behalf. But soon, these guys will die. So far, I haven't found the levels that tricky, but there have been occasional times that I've needed a restart. One thing I will say is that the campaign might seem short, like there's only 4 worlds, and I'm guessing that there's 8 levels in each one, the 8th one being a boss battle. But 32 levels of Worms is like 10 hours or more of Worms. Like, these levels usually take, you know, anywhere from 8 to 20 minutes to complete, sometimes longer. And you can see there's not only the turn timer, there's also the game timer down there in the bottom right. And when that counts down to 0, again, just unbelievable missile shots here, grenade shots. When that total timer gets down to 0, every worm gets down to 1 health, so it's sudden death, and the level starts to sink. So you have to watch out for that, obviously. Let's use our bunker buster here, which is basically just a drilling missile. It should allow us to do a ton of damage, and possibly even drown Blister here, because we're going to open up like this aquifer here. We'll see if this works. Oh my god, it just blows up on the seashell? Normally it drills through, but I guess if it touches like some kind of environmental effect like that, it doesn't. It would have drilled through the ground for sure. So I guess there are still some new things I'm learning, some intricacies, shall we say. So again, we alternate through all of our worms. I'm kind of waiting to get back to Gordon, because Gordon is going to be able to like parachute down here and then be able to kill these worms, rather than the other guys who are kind of trapped below and don't really have much recourse for taking these guys out. But there are only 2 enemies left, so we should be able to get through this quite easily. I'm hoping, at least. Prepare for an amazing missile shot, as always. Let me guess, it comes back down. Yeah, perfectly on top of that lighter. Could have done more damage, but that's still pretty substantial. So now, we finally do get Gordon. What are we going to do with him? Let's use one of Worm's like standard weapons for the franchise. We're going to use a sheep here. So the sheep does a ton of damage, and basically it's a remote detonated explosive. So we choose when to detonate it. We'll detonate it right there. He'll fall in here. He should touch the mine. He'll explode. If he didn't die from all of that, he'll drown afterwards. But that might have done over 100 damage. 105, yep. And then he will explode, blow himself up. And we only have one more worm left to deal with here. I thought it was Nikki. Sandy! There's a multitude of ways that we can take her out. But what is she going to choose to do? Hopefully not just skip her turn, because that would probably not turn out for the best for her. The problem is, I don't really have any other weapons I can just drop from the sky, so if I play as the worm down here in the bottom right, I forget its name, Noah, that's gonna knock me into the water. Yeah, if I end up playing as Noah on this turn, I might have to use the teleport or something to put him in a better position. Yes, I am Noah, because there is nothing... Oh, that was a bad jump, and it did... Oh, fuck. Again, that's also worms in a nutshell. Like, oh, it's my turn. I hit the jump button by accident. All right, my turn's over. Anytime you take damage, your turn ends. And anytime you run out of time or use a weapon, your turn ends. Except for some weapons, which you can use more than once. So we're going to see what this guy is up to. He might be able to kill Gordon with a well-placed grenade or a well-placed missile. I guess he's just opening up like an aquifer there, basically. Gordon could still use a ninja rope to get in here and do a ton of damage. We only have to do 75 damage, which, truth be told, is not all that much. But what we might do with Marmalade, we could probably teleport. Let me look into this. We have one teleporter. You know, everyone has their own different strategy. I like to use the kind of more conventional weapons. I'm gonna double jump onto that. And we're gonna just start basically like firing rock. Oh, god damn it, I pressed the wrong button again. I will say, I do find the PC controls, because I learned worms on a controller, I find the PC controls a little bit funky. Like left shift is jump, space is use, right shift is bring up the menu. It's a little bit confusing to me. I'm sure the game has controller support anyway. Well, I guess I shouldn't say I'm not sure. But I'm just too lazy to get my controller out, basically. Please don't kill Gordon. Well, he's close, but he's not dead. So what I'm thinking, we'll ninja rope with Gordon, assuming he's still alive here. We'll ninja rope with Gordon, because he should be our next worm. That should allow us to get into a position to dynamite. This won't hurt me, right? Like the water will, yeah, soften the fall here. We might need to use a parachute, so let's take that out. Parachutes work automatically, and they allow us to negate fall damage, which, as you might expect, is pretty important. We can probably just make this jump. Okay, and now, pardon me, we can actually just drop a missile in here. Is there anything better that we could use? Possibly. I guess we could water pistol and then, like, drown him in here. But it might just be a good idea to use, like, a bazooka. Bazooka and grenade are usually unlimited. At least in these early levels. And they do a substantial amount of damage. So nothing wrong with that. I guess the cell phone is going to come down here for Marmalade. What does it have left? 30 damage. Now, here's the problem. We're going to have to use a teleport for sure to get one of our worms in range of Sandy here. Because Gordon is almost going to die for sure. That is my guess anyway. Well, yeah, that was pretty much a perfect rocket. I could never... If you gave me that shot, I would probably miss 8 out of 10 times. Or 4 out of 5 if we're simplifying here. Do I have Marmalade next? Or do I have Noah next? I think I have Noah next. Alright, he's like a substantial distance away. So I could either try for the most miraculous rocket of all time, which is not going to work, or I could teleport us into a position where maybe I can do some more damage to him next time. So let's teleport ourselves. We don't want to get too close. We don't want to make it too easy for him to kill us on the next turn. But if we, say, teleport ourselves, like, here, he's probably going to find it difficult to get the kill. Is my hope anyway. We'll see. But anyway, we only get one teleport, so if this worm dies, we find ourselves in a much more difficult position, because we have no means for Marmalade to get up here to attack Sandy. So we'll see what Sandy's gonna do here. She could take a variety of defensive maneuvers. But I'm guessing that we are not going to see... shotgun is okay. That'll do 50 damage. If she can hit me twice, which she can't. So I'm not sure what she's going to do with her second attack here. Maybe just hit the ground in front of me and actually make it a little bit easier for me to hit her next time. I guess so. So we have Marmalade again. And with Marmalade, we're just going to continue our... actually, maybe we can't. Let's try to get out over the cell phone. It's not going to be easy, though. Can we imbalance this at all? Okay, well, we're going to have to, like, dig a path for Marmalade to get out. And the way to dig a path is with using our rocket launcher, you know, much like real life. So we'll just blow that up, and then we'll start moving our way out of here. So next time we have a turn with Marmalade, we can, like, rocket launcher below Sandy and cause her to take some fall damage, maybe, as the floor falls out underneath her. This is proving to be a longer end to this fight than I had anticipated originally. Come on, Sandy. Well, that is probably actually a terrible rocket, but we'll see if she's got extra plans in store. Guess she was just trying to get herself, like, behind that tiny piece of rock? I don't know, it seems a little silly. Can I platform up here? I think I can. Yes, I can. And now we're gonna try something a little bit different. Let's use Ninja Rope. And we'll Ninja Rope over here. Oh god, I've got myself all wrapped up. That's okay, just swing over to Sandy. Swing over to Sandy. Now I understand the purpose. Oh my god, I've totally messed it up. I understand the purposes of her rocket now. Oh my god, I was trying to Ninja Rope over there and drop some dynamite. That's the thing. You know what I said about Mark of the Ninja, if you watch that video? In Mark of the Ninja, again, good grenade. Not a great grenade, but an okay grenade. In Mark of the Ninja, if you see something, you can do it. Like, even if something's incredibly complicated, the game makes it easy enough for you to do, which is awesome. Worms is also awesome, but it has the exact opposite philosophy, which is basically like, you see that? Like that simple jump that you're going to try to make there? You're probably not going to be able to do it. We're going to try, but it's probably not going to work out for the best for you. So how much damage did I do there? Well, enough to win. Okay, that's awesome. I didn't expect Marmalade to pull it out there, but she ended up doing it. Or he, I don't know, maybe Marmalade's a dude.
We fought them on the beaches and made smash crabs of them all.
Alright, so I failed to improve on my best time here. Every time you complete a mission, you get more, you get like a medal, and the medal gives you, I forget if it's coins or tokens, but you use these to actually purchase new upgrades. I'll show you actually as we exit out here. That might be the last actual game of Worms I play in this video, but let's show you some of the surrounding things we got going on here. Again, this is our campaign. I am assuming that it only has 4 worlds here. I'm not sure if this island over here has any importance. But we also have this puzzle mode here, which actually I have not checked out.
Younger animals must pass initiation tests before they are accepted into the fold. Like chimps sewing quilts before they can become gorillas. It's exactly the same here. Complete these 20 puzzles and learn about the finer points of worm-to-worm combat.
Alright, well I will do my best. We'll go to the sewer here. In order to complete this puzzle, you need to negotiate several obstacles and show some ingenuity when dealing out the damage. You can do it. Let's give it a try. So I haven't actually touched any of these puzzles so far. I'm not sure how they're going to work. If we're going to have like a limited amount of turns or something, maybe we'll only have 1 worm and like 2 different kinds of weapons.
Limbering up. I prefer to limbo up, but there's no stick and no tie. Now this fella I do like. He's got spirit and bravado, and I want him dead. No one taunts me like that.
Alright, so we have to get over to him.
Remember your wildlife equations. Obstacle plus negotiation equals solution. Quite literally the pits. What possible use could a weapons crate be in a war zone? Work it out, man. You're looking focused, fit, and ready for action. And I will say that at your funeral. Good luck, soldier.
I will say, as much as I love Matt Berry, sometimes a little bit of the dialogue can be tiresome. By the way, this is a good point to mention. One of the things that is definitely a big addition to this franchise, or to this edition in the franchise, is that there are different kinds of worms. So the reason my worm can jump super far right now is because it is a scout. So all the worms that you saw me using before were normal worms. But there are like special scout worms as well. There's a heavy, there's a scientist. I understand what to do next, actually.
Take time out to gloat. Time's up. I have dire news. The weapons at your disposal won't bring this brute down.
I've got to hit him into the mine.
He's tough and I got the
I've got to hit him into the mine.
Do I care? I almost do.
I've gotta hit him
So you
into the
need to
mine.
Find a way of inflicting extra death on this guy.
I've got to hit him into the mine. Could they Chekhov's gun that mine anymore? Here, we'll jump across. Again, that's a longer jump because we're playing as the scout. I'll show off some of the other classes in a second. You don't have to tell me about that mine down there. I see it. Really couldn't miss it. Awesome. So we succeeded there. I kind of want to check out like our second puzzle to see if maybe it gets a little bit more complex. It said there were 20 puzzles, I think. So I expect the first few ones to be quite easy, but we'll see. Again, I'm just going to skip by the dialogue.
Could do it. Cancel the memorial service. He made it. Welcome home.
Alright, I'll accept that. We got a gold medal and we got some credits. Let's continue, and maybe we'll go to our second puzzle level. Flotsam and Jetsam. There are 2 enemies that need dealing with in this puzzle. Getting to them won't be easy, and killing them will be even harder. Good luck. Good luck, good luck, good luck, good luck. And we're playing as the scientists now. The scientists allow you to heal every turn. They heal everybody on your team 5 health per turn.
Ah, so they're a double act, are they? Well, their next gig is in hell. Get rid of them.
Also, they are extremely weak, and this is a heavy.
Good. I suggest you utilize the crate next to you. It's not there as soft furnishing. This one too. And another. Box death. Like it.
Right, so we have all these crates. I think it's pretty obvious.
Omelet, hold the mercy. You got my order?
Now, the heavy is larger and slower than your average worm, and much larger and much slower than your average scout. However, it's substantially has more HP. So I think we might be able to like damage ourselves with this mine, and then get this. This will probably be like a blowtorch or something down here. The mine shouldn't kill me, and thus, by my logic, should make me stronger. Yes, we get a blowtorch here. Blowtorch allows us to blow through walls to create paths for ourselves. Oh, that's not what I meant. There we go. We'll do that. Create a nice little path for ourselves. And then pick up this crate, which I assume is going to be some kind of weapon, maybe like dynamite that we can use to take out both of the enemies in here. See? It is dynamite. Lucky guess. I swear to God I have not done this puzzle before.
I once took out 2 hippos with 1 lolly stick. You have 2 worms and 1 weapon. It's doable. Place the dynamite to take them both out at once. A wounded worm has no fear.
Right, so we're going to try to place the dynamite like smack dab in the middle of them. Please don't give me like a big red fuck me arrow to tell me where to put the dynamite. I could have told you that. I'm capable of finding the midpoint of this vector here. We got Filth and Stinker. We're just going to place the dynamite there. And of course I placed it in actually the worst possible spot. But I think it still worked. Yes, it did. Okay. Fantastic. So that's our second puzzle done. You can kind of get a feel for how the puzzle mode works now. I probably won't play too much more of it on camera. In fact, I'm probably not going to play any more of it on camera.
What we spent on dynamite, they're saving on funerals. So don't feel bad. Oh no, you're not.
That should be another gold medal, I'm assuming. Yes. So we'll continue. We'll load back into our main menu here. And I will exit out. So that's the puzzle mode. There's also downloadable content here, which you can see, but there's not any of it yet, I'm assuming. We also have the versus mode, which is basically just like suiting up against the AI in a standard worm-to-worm combat online multiplayer, which I haven't checked out yet. But I know for a fact Michael A.L. Fox also has a pre-release copy of this game. So we're going to be getting some worm-on-worm action going on. I know when our worms touch, you guys like it a lot. And we're also going to go to customization here. I don't want to hear the dialogue here. But basically, you can customize your worms and your formation. So let's start by customizing our worms. Our formation is basically just a team. So why don't we purchase Gordon here? We'll rename him Michael A.L. Fox. Okay. And then we'll purchase... so you can purchase any kind of worm you want, except for standard worms, because we already have 4 of them. So let's purchase Heavy, let's say, yes. And we've just purchased him. And unlocked a new item. A hat, of course. Oh my god, several hats. And what is he? Is he going to be our heavy? Or is Winifred our heavy? Okay, Winifred is our heavy. So we can rename Winifred if we want to. Sorry, I was a little bit confused about how the customization worked here for a second. We can be like, that's J. Smith OTI right there. And we can purchase another worm if we wanted. Let's purchase just a scout, shall we say. Scouts are also smaller, so they can fit in areas that other enemies or other worms cannot fit into. And we will come down here, and where's our scout? Ariel. We'll rename That can be Ray William Johnson. Ray William Johnson. Oh, whatever. Let's just name him, I don't know, Shay Carl. I don't know anything about big YouTubers. I just thought it'll be funny. Inevitably, this will end up causing some kind of argument in the comments. I have no idea who Shay Carl is. But anyway, so we buy worms. I'm not sure if we can customize them beyond that. Like, we unlock those hats. Can I do something with it? Apparently not. Cool. Michael A.L. Fox is a fine name for this worm, I would say. But then we can come back and... Oh, uniform. That's it. So we can give our worms a uniform here. So, why don't we equip the sweet mustache accessory? I like that one more. Okay, so we got like Jamie Heineman worms. What do we want for the trinket? Hockey stick, absolutely. Gravestone can be... Well, we don't have too many options here yet. It appears. I kind of like this one, Spelunky style. Victory dance can be... Where's the Gangnam style victory dance? Whoa, this one strikes me as a little bit PG-13. Oh, they're doing the worm. That makes sense. We have Sound Bank. We have them classic. We could set them to boxing commentators good. How about advertising? Yes, I like that. And what else? The kind of forts that we have on certain levels. Whatever. This makes like literally no difference to me. Let's go with... Which one looks most Dark Souls-y? Maybe this one? I don't know, it's hard to say. Sure, why not? Anyway, that's our customization, but the big thing you want, yes, we'll save our changes, is now your formation. So I could have a formation. I think I already made one. What did I call it? Dick Poops. Smart guy. Okay, we're going to manage our formation here. Now, I have just 4 standard worms in it, but we could swap out Noah if we wanted to now and put in Shay Carl. And we could swap out Marmalade and put in J. Smith OTI. So now we can have like normal, Scouts, Heavy. So you can have any sort of formation that you want to, which is kind of interesting. It adds a little bit of variety. But for me, so far my time with this game, I've just appreciated it for its wormsiness. So this has been just a very, very brief look at Worms Revolution coming out on PC. Not sure about console releases right now. I'm playing a PC version right now. Coming out on PC via Steam sometime in October, and I hope to have a more comprehensive and multiplayer-focused look at this game with Michael A.L. Fox moving forwards. But yeah, for those of you who are looking forward to it, more of the same, which may be good or maybe not so good, depending on your perception of the franchise. But in any case, it is what it is. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.